Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Amazing evening or afternoon or night or morning, whatever time you are joining in today. As you know, this is the IQ Leadership Retreat. And what we do is to, be in a room where we all are able to increase our intellect, when it comes to leadership. And as I said yesterday, everyone is a leader. Everyone is a leader. No matter where you are or what level of life you are a leader. And what that simply means is that the first thing, you lead yourself. You lead yourself. No matter what age, what position at your workplace, wherever you are a leader. You are a leader of yourself first. Then comes every other thing. As you know, my name is Aduramigba Olayinka, and I'm really, glad to be your convener and host for the IQ Leadership Retreat. As you know, this is the maiden edition, and this is day 2. And so, yesterday we had a good time learning from our speakers, from Nigeria, and also joining us, was from Dubai yesterday. Today we have, great speakers also. We have someone from South Africa, and also Eswatini, joining us. And that shows you how global the IQ retreat, is. Same way as yesterday, you want to grab your pen, you want to grab, whatever it is you need to jot down, you want to engage. There will be time where the speakers, will ask for you to speak. If there's anyone who can speak, I would, I will appreciate, that you join in and be able to turn on your camera whenever they, need someone to speak. As you know, this is brought to you by the Intellect Quest company, and in partnership with Equip Nigeria. You will see my shirt here. You will see Equip, and yes, what we do is, we equip people to become better. Yes. So right away, we would be starting tonight session with the very first session from Madam Cynthia joining us from Eswatini. Of course, I know you are ready to hear all that it is she has for you, but let me tell you a quick one about how it's going to run. As you know, what we are studying is some set of value by John C. Maxwell. If you've ever heard the word leadership, you will know John C. Maxwell is a core person, of that word. So what we'll be learning is the some of his life-proving strategies and values, that has helped him and other many other to live a good, successful, and then a significant life. Yes. So we'll be treating 2 values today. So yeah, watch out. The first one will be relationship. And so you want to really plug in and make sure you join in, get yourself ready to be impacted. Ladies and gentlemen, no time. We're already, out of time. We'll be bringing up the speaker for tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're supposed to do, an introduction, but if you are in the group, the community group, you would have, been seeing their profile. So yes, check in there. These people are renowned speakers. Our speaker yesterday, Dr. Alfred, is a doctor. Yes, I mean, a MD. Our other speaker yesterday was she is a 2-time TEDx speaker. Yeah, you could search her name. A 2-time TEDx speaker. If you know what TEDx is, for someone to be on TEDx for 2 times, you already know what that is. And so these are phenomenal people. Go through their profile, check it out, and and just exchange thoughts around it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as we go tonight, welcome Lady Cynthia.
Thank you so much, Adura. So I'll just start by testing 1, 2. Can anybody hear me? If you can hear me, please can you respond by reacting? Maybe give me a bit of like so that I can count my names so that I can hear that you can hear me. Okay, I can see you can hear me well. Thank you so much, Adura. So, all right. So today, just as Adura has said, we're going to be looking at a couple of values, and my bit is to share on the value of relationships. So I'm just going to start by introducing myself. I understand you've already seen my profile, but then maybe I can just give you a summary of who I am. I am joining you from the Kingdom of Eswatini. Many of you probably remember Eswatini as Swaziland. We just had a name change. So that is where I am joining you from. I am a learning strategist as well as a team coach, and also I am a ministry leader. So what I do, I work with a mission and I help people to be future ready and also to be future fit by equipping them for the change that is already upon us whilst they remain anchored in their purpose. That is what I do. And I know you would agree with me that in a culture that seems to be threatened so much by AI and automation, you would agree with me that people feel so much threatened and so much uncertain about their future. So my role is to help my clients remain relevant by helping them embrace their humanity. The truth of the matter is that there is no AI that will beat you at being human. So hence, in order for us to be still relevant, we need to understand that we actually have a competitive advantage in this technologically driven world. And that advantage, we can be able to live in it when we embrace our humanity by living out good values. So that is all about me. And I have a master's in leadership and change management. I'm also a certified DISC assessor with Thomas International, and I am a value specialist. So enough about me. Let us move on to today's session, whereby we're going to be talking about relationships. So as I start, I just want to start by reflecting on an event that recently happened. So what maybe I forgot to mention is that I'm married to one husband and I have 3 boys. So I want to share about a recent event that happened with my family when we took our 3 boys to Kruger National Park. Kruger National Park is this safari that we have here in Southern Africa, and it's in South Africa. So my boys love studying about animals. They love really studying about wildlife. So we had the opportunity to take them on a safari drive. And before I go on, I just want to hear from you. What is your favorite animal? Do we have animal lovers here? I just want to see something. If you were going to go on a safari, what animal would you want to see? What animal would you want to see? Please type in the chat section. I want to see something. I want to see who is like me and my boys. What animals do you love seeing if you were going to go to a safari? I see Gershon has already responded and he is saying lion. So I'm going to move on with my story. So we went to Kruger National Park, and as we were driving through the bushveld, each of us scanned the horizon, wide-eyed and hopeful, searching for that one animal that we all wanted to see. And I am so excited that Gershon said lion, because that is exactly the lion that we also wanted to see at Kruger. So we went uphill, we also went downhill. We paused at watering holes and we waited in anticipation. And guess what? The king of the jungle did not appear. But minutes turned into hours, and again there was still no lion, and we began to feel that excitement fading away, and slowly disappointment began to kick in. Then in that moment we agreed that we had to shift our focus. We had to savor the present rather than for us to ache for what was missing. So that shift actually changed everything, because in that moment when we shifted our mindset, wanting to see what was around us, we suddenly started to see our eyes being opened. Not far from the road, we spotted a herd of elephants browsing peacefully in a thicket. The mother elephant gently broke twigs for the little ones, while the father stood nearby like a quiet sentinel guarding his family. And their presence just radiated this strength and this tenderness, and we were all captivated by this sight. And a couple of minutes later, we drove off and we came upon a bridge. And at that bridge, we came across to see that there were a lot, or maybe a pod of hippos basking motionless in the African sun. We were captivated by their thick, glistening skin, absorbing their heat. As we saw them, we just realized that they lay there undisturbed, and seemingly, they were just secure in one another's company. And as we were taking that all in, not far from that site of hippos, we also saw a herd of impalas approaching us. It was clear that these were several families. There were a lot of them, and they were moving in graceful procession towards the river bank. They galloped in rhythm, each one focused on an unspoken goal, each one following closely behind another. And as I sat in the car, reflecting on the beauty of what we were seeing, reflecting on that beauty that was before us, one truth stood out to me. The truth that told me that every animal was moving in a herd. Whether they were elephants, whether they were hippos, whether they were impalas, they were seeming to find safety, strength, and all seemed to be finding purpose in community. So it reminded me of a familiar principle that I know some of you already know, the principle that says there is strength in numbers. You see, predators such as lions and leopards, they don't attack the herd. They look for that one prey that has wandered off from the herd. They look for that isolated one. They look for that vulnerable one, and they go for it. And in leadership, the same principle applies. We are not meant to lead in isolation. No matter how gifted or visionary we are, we need others, we need partners, we need mentors, we need teammates, and we also need our friends in order for us to thrive and to fulfill our purpose. So cultivating relationships is not optional. It is something that is essential if you want to thrive in your leadership. And tonight, we are going to be learning about the value of relationships from Dr. John C. Maxwell, as well as from one another. And I just want to give you some questions before we move on to Dr. John C. Maxwell's video. And I just want to give you these questions to ponder on during the weekend or the next time you find yourself having some time. Make time to ask yourself, what herd are you a part of? Are you in the right herd? One that nurtures, one that protects, and one that propels you forward. Also, the other question that I would want you to ponder on is, what role do you play in your head? Are you a protector? Are you the guide? Or are you the nurturer? Are you walking in step with your community, or have you drifted into isolation? Please take some time to ponder on this and see whether you are in the right head. And in closing of this just first session, I just want you to remember that leadership is not just about standing out. It's about working together. And I'm going to repeat the statement again. Leadership is not just about standing out. It's about working together. So at this point, I would like to invite you all to watch this short video by Dr. John C. Maxwell. He's going to be talking about the value of relationships. And as you listen, please take note of anything that is going to speak to you, anything that is going to resonate with you. Please jot it down. And when I come back after the short video, we'll come to a time of discussion. Thank you. Over to you, Adira.
Today I want to talk to you about relationships. When I was in the 7th grade, I read a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. My father, when each one of the children, I was the middle child, got to the 7th grade, he literally paid us an allowance to read books that he put in our hands because he felt that reading good books could change your life, and that was one of those books. That did change my life. In fact, I read that book every year through high school and took 2 Dale Carnegie relationship classes while I was in high school. What I knew as a very young man that I'm sharing with you now as a very old man is this: the quality of your relationships will determine the quality of your life. I wrote a book called 25 Ways to Win with People, which was really a book that was kind of my Dale Carnegie book, helping people to win with relationships. And in that book, on 25 Ways to Win with People, there are 5 people practices that I want to give you that will help you in getting better relationally with other people. Number 1, practice the 30-second rule. This is a simple thing that you can do, and you can start doing it immediately. The 30-second rule means that within the first 30 seconds that you see somebody or meet them, say something positive about their life. Compliment them. Something that is nice. In the first 30 seconds, be intentional to start your conversation off in a positive way with another person. The second thing that I would encourage you to do, it's a great practice, is to listen with your heart. Now, I know we have ears to listen, but listening with your heart is wanting to listen. It focuses on us really wanting to understand the person that we're hearing from. Now, this is a practice that I had to learn because I was not a naturally good listener. In fact, I had one of my staff members one day come up to me and have an honest moment with me and say, "John, you don't listen to us." And for a moment, that was hard for me to receive, and I kind of pushed back and was defensive. But the longer that I thought about it, the more I realized that she was exactly right. I didn't listen well. So for the next couple of years on my legal pad, I'd put a big L over in the right-hand top corner of that legal pad. That big L just stood for listen. And I would get into meetings, and I would be tempted to talk more than I should, and I'd see the big L on the legal pad, and I'd just say, "Shut up, John. Listen. Listen with your heart. Listen to understand. Listen to care." The third thing that I would encourage you to practice in relationships is to remember a person's story. I've discovered that everyone has a story, and I love to hear what their story is. I love to ask them about their story. I can remember Margaret and I, many years ago, going into an Italian restaurant down in the area where we live in Florida called Evo's. And as we were ordering food, I asked for a Coke Zero, and the waitress said they didn't have Coke Zero there. They had Diet Cokes. I said, "Okay," and I took the Diet Coke. We came in about maybe a month later, and I sat down, and I started ordering my food, and the waitress came up to me, and she had a Coke Zero. And she began to pour it into my glass of ice, and I looked at her and said, oh my goodness, you got Coke Zero. She said, sure, Mr. Maxwell. She said, when you were here last, you said that was your favorite drink, and so we have it now in stock for you. We remembered that's what you liked, and so therefore we wanted to serve you well. You see, she remembered my story. And one of the best ways to value people is just to remember their stories. It will make them feel special. Number 4, create a memory and visit it often. I love to create memories. In fact, I try to do it on a daily basis. And with my children as they grew up, and now with my grandchildren, I was always asking them 2 questions. Every experience that we had, big experience, small experience, it didn't matter. I would ask them these 2 questions. What did you love and what did you learn? I've been asking those questions now for 40 years. And trust me, every experience that you have, you need to evaluate and pull out of that experience something that will help you grow and learn. Asking a person what they love, what they learn, will help them to kind of evaluate those experiences and create those memories with those families and other people around you that they just will never forget. And finally, help people win. This works with family, this works with friends and business associates. Help people to learn how to win. What I've discovered is that most people go through experiences of life and they don't get a lot of wins. And if you have the ability to make things happen for yourself, then help make things happen for others. In fact, one of the great transitions I had in my life relationally was when I quit trying to make things happen always for me, and I began to set things up that would happen for others so that they could experience the wins, so they could experience the joys. Here's what I know. As you look back on your life, the relationships that you have on your life will give you your greatest memories, and they'll also give you your most difficult, saddest moments. But if you're intentional in building into people's lives and adding value to people on a daily basis, I can promise you, you'll have a lot of good memories with a lot of good people that will give you a foundation of relational success. Because leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Where do you gain influence with people? By connecting with them and relating to them. Remember this, people won't go along with you unless they can get along with you. So be a person that they can get along with. And then you can go together on that journey. Now, today's round table
Okay, thank you so much. I hope we were all listening. I hope we managed to get some light bulb moments as Dr. John C. Maxwell was talking right there, because at this point, we want to get into an interactive session. One thing that we believe at Equip is that we give everybody a voice. At the table is where everybody is valued, where everybody gets to say something, and where everybody gets to offer value to the one that is next to them. So at this point, we just want to hear from you. What stood out from what Dr. John C. Maxwell has said? So if you want, you can unmute yourself, switch on your camera and engage with us. Or if that is not possible, it's still okay. You can type in the comment section, then we'll read out your input. But we want to engage. We want to hear from you. Did you have any light bulb moment? Did anything resonate from you? Because if you are like me, I have quite a number of things that Dr. John C. Maxwell has said, and I was just noting them down. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to ask you to just share that one thing that stood out for you. Who would want to break the ice for us? That one thing. What is that one thing that stood out to you? Well, I'll go first. For me, I loved what he said about the 30-second rule. You know, many at times when we approach people, many at times we are just thinking about what those people are thinking about us instead of us voicing out what we think about them. And I always see it helpful when we say positive things that we see in people, because that's what people want. People want to hear people say things about themselves, good things. And when we do that, we create rapport with them. And when we do that as leaders, you'd see that we are able to grow our influence with them. So for me, that stood out for me when he mentioned the 30-second rule. What about you? What is that one thing that stood out for you? Yes, I see Alice Chireshe here has said something. She said what stood out for her is that remember a person's story. It shows that you care. That's so true, Alice. And you can always be able to remember a person's story when you are listening to what they are saying. So the question is, are we fully attentive when we are engaging in conversations with people, or we are busy thinking about the next thing that we are going to say to them? All right, I see Lekan also has said something. I don't know if it's a he or a she, but they are saying, I think for me, I've learned to help people win. This will leave a lasting memory with them. Absolutely, absolutely. Leadership is all about influence. We think not of ourselves only, but then we have to think about how we can add value to the other person. That's how we grow our influence. I'm loving this. Thank you so much. May you keep them coming. Is there anyone who would want to interact with us by video? Anyone who would want to interact us by video? We would love to hear your voices. All right. If there is no one, then we'll move on to the next question. All right. Before I move on to the next question, I see Olamide has said something. They said, what stood out for me was the quality of your relationship determines how one grows in life. That is so true. The quality of relationships can either take us up, or the quality of the relationship can take us down. There are a lot of insights that Dr. John C. Maxwell have shared. So I'm going to move on to the next question. And the next question reads, how does this value apply in your personal relationship? Now, the value that we are talking about is the value of relationships. How does the value of relationship apply in your personal leadership? Now, as you know, as leaders, our lives are multifaceted. When we talk about leadership, we're looking at ourselves as leaders in our homes, in our families, in our workplaces, in the church, in the community, or anywhere where you've got a sphere of influence. How do you think that this value of leadership is important to you in how you show up as a leader, regardless of the place or the sphere of influence that you'll be looking at? How do you think relationships can help you be able to demonstrate good leadership in any sphere of your life? Can we hear from you? Adura, are we able to beam the questions so that people can see the questions on the screen? I cannot see on mine. I don't know if others can see the questions.
The technical team will get that done shortly.
All right.
You can proceed.
Okay, so the question that we are looking at is, how does the value of relationship apply in your personal leadership? How does it apply? For me, I would say that the value of leadership applies in my personal leadership. The value of relationship, apply in my personal leadership, in that relationships, they help me sharpen my vision. You know, sometimes we have our vision, but then sometimes it's blurry. You just need that other person to wear another pair of spectacles and give you another perspective so that you can have more clarity in your vision. That's where I see the value of relationships really helping me in my personal lives. What about you? When you look at relationships, how do you think they can contribute in your own leadership? Whether you are a leader in your home or you're a leader in the workplace or in the church, how do you see harnessing the value of relationships helping you? Remember, you are free to type in or to switch on your mic. How can relationships aid you in your leadership? Maybe let me ask it in another way. How does relationships help you in your leadership? Yes, Alice, I see you. You are saying relationships in my life have helped me gain access to valuable mentorship. Absolutely, absolutely. It is in people that we can be able to get valuable mentorship. We need other people for us to be able to get ahead. Thank you so much for sharing. Anyone else? This is an interactive session. Let's free to talk. When we are doing a round table, we hardly have a teacher. What we say everybody is a leader at the table. So we put off our masks. I've already put off my mask of leadership, of learning strategist. And I'm just here also as a participant. Let's have the discussion. Let's keep the discussion going. There is no answer that is wrong. We just want to hear your insights because we understand everybody here is a leader. So here is the question. I can now see it on the screen. It says, how does this value apply in your personal leadership? And we are talking about the value of relationships. How can you harness the value of relationships in your personal leadership?
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, I can hear you.
Okay, ma. So the value of relationship has helped me in my leadership style or in my leadership skill by me having this easy flow of communication, aside from the formal setting in which myself and other team members are. We get to discuss and we get to like watch after each other outside the formal setting, making it informal and still maintaining the workspace and still maintaining things in which we ought to maintain formally. So the value of relationship has helped me to keep good communication with persons, ensuring that I'm looking out for them regardless of what brought us together.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. I wish I could see your face and your name so that I could call you by your name. But absolutely, thank you so much for sharing those insights. And I'm seeing again, Alice has posted in something and she's saying personal relationships have also provided a source of moral support in challenging moments. So every relationship matters regardless of where they are stemming from. Your family matters. Your relationships in the workplace also matters because there is a moral support that every relationship brings to the table. So we need to be those people who are able to cultivate healthy relationships with everybody who is around us if we are going to thrive in our leadership. All right. Okay, are you okay? Should we move on to the last question? Is anyone available to weigh in again their thoughts on how the value of relationships can impact or is already impacting their personal leadership? Okay, if there is no one, then let's move on to our last question. And this is my favorite question. And it says, what action can you take this week to demonstrate this value? So I like what Adura said at the beginning, that here at Equip, we equip people. So when we come and we just talk about insights and we leave without any action step, that will be just information. And information on its own is not equal to transformation. Transformation is only found when we take that information and we put it into action. So now I hope for this one, everybody is going to say something so that you can be able to go out there and say, you know what, I was in a relationships session and this is what I took away from. What I like saying every time I sit in round tables is that you may forget everything that everybody has said, but just remember one thing. It's important for you to remember your action step, because it is in that action where transformation is going to happen. So in regards to your relationships, when you look at them, what is that one specific action are you going to take in order for you to cultivate the already existing relationships? Or what is it that you're going to start doing in order for you to build more healthy relationships around you? What is that one thing? I'll give you a moment to ponder on this one. Probably I'll just give you three minutes to just think on this one. What is that specific action that you're going to go and do? And I'll help you craft one. You know, an action is supposed to be specific. It's supposed to have 3 W's. So in order for you to have that specific action step, I would encourage you to have an action step that has a what is it that you're going to start doing or stop doing? What is it that you're going to do in order for you to build or to demonstrate the value of relationships? And also your action step has got to have a when, a time frame. When are you going to start working on this? And lastly, as leaders, as we are talking about relationships, who are you going to do this with? Maybe you probably need an accountability partner. There's someone who was talking about mentorship here. So with who are you going to be accountable to in order for you to work on this action step? So who is ready to share with us their action step? What is that one thing that you're going to go and do as a matter of you working on your relationships? Because remember what we said, leadership is not about standing out, but rather it is about working together. So who is it that you need in your head? Who is it that you need to start cultivating relationships with so that you can be able to achieve that which you want to achieve? What is it, that thing that you're going to start doing in order to work on the value of relationships? So I will just be silent for the next 1 minute and hopefully we'll be able to hear from you. Whenever you are ready, you are free to just unmute yourself and to share. John Maxwell shared a lot of insights about how we can grow our relationships. He did say about listening intentionally. For some of you, maybe you need to start stopping, you need to start to listen attentively to others, not to work on what you're going to respond, but rather to really listen when you are engaging with others. And that on its own, it's a good step for you to build on your relationships. I see Adura has already mentioned something. He's saying that his action step is going to be him being more intentional in having great friends. Yes. So who is in your head? Do you have great friends that are taking you up, or you have great friends that are taking you down? John Maxwell talks about the elevator principle, and he says that we have the power to take other people up, and we have also the power to take them down. So amongst your friends, do you have people who are taking you down? Then maybe if there are people who are taking you down, probably now this is the time to start really thinking about your next steps. Thank you so much, Adura, for sharing that. Okay, I see Alice. Alice is saying, I will practice listening with care, not just listening to respond. I will do it this coming week. Yes, I see a win there at work, and my husband will be my accountability partner. Thank you so much, Alice. I am seeing the 3Ws, and the moment you're going to go out of this round table, you will really know what it is that you have taken away from this session, that you're going to start listening with care, and you're going to share this with your husband so that he will be your accountability partner, and you are going to demonstrate this in the workplace as well as in the home, I believe. Thank you so much for sharing. Haley, I see Haley has said something here. She said your action step would be to listen with your heart and to talk less. Absolutely. That is a good action step as well. To pause before you respond. Listen with your heart first and talk less, so that you really understand what the other person is saying. When you do that, people know that you are already listening to them, and that shows that you really care about them. Sorry. Thank you so much, Haley. Do we have anyone else? Do
Good
we
evening.
have any? Yes, please go on.
Good evening. My name is Lekon.
Yes, Liko.
Good evening. Okay, so from my own end, the action step, one of the things that I would like to start doing now, I want to start from that what. So I think one of the things that I will start doing is to be intentional about relationship. Many a times we meet people and people just come and go without adding value to them or without having an impact. So I think I will be more deliberate. Anyone I come across in life, I need to be more deliberate. Try to make impact, like what John C. Maxwell has taught us. To listen very well, to also learn how to make them to win. Everybody has their struggles. So the value of relationship is when you help people to win. Then from the word win, so I think I need to start right away now. Then also the who. I think I will first of all need to start with my family, my wife and my children. Like he said in his presentation, that he usually asks his children to, what do you learn from that experience? So I think I'll be more deliberate by engaging them, active listening also. Most of the time we try to, talk without listening to the other person. So I will learn to listen, before talking. So I think that's for me, that's what I will need to be doing, to be more deliberate about meeting people. There are different types of relationship. We have toxic, we have parasitic, we have symbiotic relationship. But one of the things that I know is that everyone we come across in life, there's a reason why you meet them. So I'll be more deliberate about meeting people and making an impact in their lives. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Laker, for sharing that. I love the words that you used. being intentional and also being deliberate with the people that you're going to meet so that you leave a lasting impact. And that is the language of a leader, always wanting to share value, to give value so that you can share that lasting impact. That's a good action step as well. So, do we have anyone else before I close this session?
Yes, good evening. This is Michael.
Yes. Yes, Mike, please proceed.
Yes, in my little zone where I was a leader, I was a leader among just a few people, and from what Doc shared tonight, I discovered that I did not do enough because I'm this kind of person that I don't like much association. I have discovered that it is very good to remember someone's story. Yes, because after first meeting, what will make the person adapt to you or stick to you is telling him or her of his story, what you shared. So I learned that it's very good to remember someone's story. The first point of contact, you have to remember his story so that when next you meet, you will tell him or her that this is what you shared together to keep the relationship strong and moving. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mike. And thank you so much for the vulnerability to say what Dr. John C. Maxwell shared. You haven't been doing that. And that thing of remembering the story, that's how we can start by building that rapport. That's how we can be able to build influence with those around us. Because when we remember the stories, we are also communicating that we care about them. So really, this is a good action step. Thank you so much. And the last action step that I'm going to read is from Lacan, and it says, I will use more of storytelling with my family and people around me. That is how he is going to enhance the relationships around him using his gift of storytelling so that he can make that lasting impact. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. This group has been engaging. I really enjoyed the round table, and I hate that we'll have to stop here so that we can make way for the next session. But I want to leave you with a quote by Dr. John C. Maxwell. He said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So if you are going to grow in your leadership, you need to always be intentional on how you will make people feel, because that is what they will always remember. So John Maxwell has given us a number of to-dos in how we can be able to create that feeling of caring so that we can be able to grow in that influence. Because the moment people believe that we care for them, they will permit us to lead them. So I hope we have taken a lot from this session, and I'm just going to hand it over to you, Adura. Thank you so much, and thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us.
Wow, wow. Oh, wow. Such a good time, such a good time. Everyone, please, a round of applause, for that powerful session. A round of applause, a round of applause. She said it all, and John Maxwell, also said it. Relationship is very important. There are some things that I want. Let me first say this. In life, what you need is what you need. Like whatever you need is what you need. You don't need anything more than what you need. And this is why I say that. Listen to this and take the lesson of it. Let's say you need to get, is it a visa or something? If you will not have it, like If you don't have it, you don't have it. And for you to get to, if you need to open a door or get into a room, you need the key. If you don't have the key, is either you break the door, and if you break the door, people are going to say, oh yes, you are trying to steal, even though you are trying to get in to do a good thing. But the lesson there is that the key you need, sometimes you can have many keys in your hand, you know, a bunch of keys. But this is what it is. You don't need a bunch of keys to enter into a room. You only need a right key, like just a right key, just one key. And what that tells us is that you can have a lot of people, a lot of things within your reach, a lot of network, but sometimes you don't need all of that. What you need is the right person who will vouch for you, or the right person who will say, oh, this is what you are trying to get, take. There are some things that, you know, I do. I mean, part of it is this event, you know, part of the reason why I'm able to do a lot of things that I do is because I have keys, bunch of keys with me. But not only that, I know the right one to use whenever I'm trying to open a particular thing. So, and to link that up with today's discussion, you've got to have people with you. You've got to have people who, you know, who have what you want, and you need to be intentional about, you know, getting connected to those people. Recently, you know, I've been telling myself, Adura, you need to get into some rooms. You need to get into some rooms. In some rooms, you meet some people. That thing you've been struggling for, that you need an approval or something or whatever, just talking to someone can get you that thing as fast as possible. So thank you so much, Cynthia, for that amazing time of, you know, of learning. And thank you to John Maxwell, you know, for being a good role model of all of this. I mean, I have enjoyed his relationship, you know, having him being part of my life. I have enjoyed his relationship. There are some things that I need, and I just meet somebody that knows him, and I just say, oh, I need this person. Oh, you are part of Equip, you know, network. And, you know, I tell her, oh, I'm part of, you know, so brand with Johnson Maxwell, and, you know, and that opens the door. Something I'm supposed to maybe pay for or be on a queue, I just get it. There are so many testimony. I mean, if you know me, you will know some of them. And so that is it. You really need to pay attention to, you know, your relationships. Now, our next speaker, I believe she's ready while I wait for the technical team to cue me in as she unmute the mic and even get a video set. I would, you know, tell us what, you know, what the IQ leadership retreat is again. As I said yesterday, what does the IQ mean? The IQ means intellect quest. Intellect quest. And what that simply, you know, mean is that we are on a quest to increase our intellectual quotient. Yes, I know what you've always know about IQ. The word IQ is intelligence quotient. But now I'm telling you, we are on a quest. And how do you get connected to, you know, being part of those who are on this quest? Is that you join the IQ community. There's a community, I believe the admin team will drop the link in the group. If you are not in, you want to get in. And of course, the Intellect Quest company, there are quite a lot of things we'll be putting together. It's all about knowledge. It's all about knowledge. Remember, yesterday, Dr. Alfred talked about personal relationship and what is, personal growth. What you want to get a cue of that is that self-development, self-improvement is a very strong industry and a strong part of our life. And that is what the Intellect Quest, you know, is doing, trying to liberate our mind, bringing knowledge, we're bringing industry expert, to speak to us in different subject matter. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. Right about now, I saw our facilitator turned on her camera some few minutes ago. I know she would be back shortly. But yes, as she gets speaking, I want us to engage the same way, we've been doing since yesterday. Some people's camera, I saw their cameras on. That is so great. That is great. Make sure you turn on your camera and speak. Don't just turn on your camera, speak. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear your comment. Most importantly, those of you whose camera are on. Yeah, thank you. Right about now, you probably have read her profile on the social media or in the group. She's going to introduce herself, but as you know, the people who are talking to you, they are, they are good people, not just good. Their profile is huge. So yes, you want to get in and of course pay attention and just soak it in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our next speaker that will be speaking to us on priorities. Over to you, Ma. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adura. Greetings, everyone. It's so lovely to be here. I was given the platform to speak about priorities. I believe some of you have read the profile. So for those who do not know, my name is Eugene Meck, and I am joining you live from South Africa, Johannesburg. And I happen to be the senior facilitator for the Beyond Success Equity South Africa here in SA. And I am also a peer educator for human rights under Africa Unite, an initiative from United Nations. And I am also a digital storyteller for At Life Africa. We are very vocal when it comes to climate justice, where we collaborate with local organizations so that we can educate our people on the climate change that is affecting us. So I would love to tell you a small story before we begin, before we play our video. So there's a story that I had when growing up, and this story says back then in 2004, right, in hospital in Johannesburg, faced a crisis and the power went out. And as it went out, the backup generator failed, right? And just to be sure, is everyone hearing me? Am I audible?
Oh yes, I can hear you very loud and clear.
Great. So as the generator failed, right, and the NICU filled with fragile newborns. There were just newborns in the hospital, and the newborns was in danger. But then something incredible happened, right? A nurse faced with chaos had no clear instructions, right? Prioritized, she gathered all the manual resuscitators and organized the staff and assigned everyone to a baby. Every staff assigned each staff to a baby. And she chose to focus not on the failing systems because of the as I said, the power went out, and but on the lives in front of her. So hours later, the power returned, right? And every baby survived that she assigned every staff to. And when she was asked how did she made that decision under such pressure, because of when you're under pressure, it's usually difficult to make the right decisions because of we know when you're under pressure how we think, right? So she simply said, I didn't do everything, right? I didn't do everything. I did the most important thing first. So the difference is most of the time when we are under pressure, we tend to be like, want to do everything. We want to make sure that everything is in order, especially us leaders. When you're under pressure, we want to deliver, right? But this one is saying, I didn't do everything. I did the most important thing first. So I believe that we have a list of things that we need them to be done. But here it's saying, I did the most important thing first. So here, ladies and gentlemen, this is the power of priorities. The moment you master of as much as I can have a list of things that needs to be done, but believe me, on that list, there's that one thing that you need to prioritize and do it first. So I hope you learned something from the story. And without wasting any more time, I'm just going to play a video from our father, our mentor, our friend, Dr. John Maxwell. Then you just watch the video and you just tell me what is it that you learned from the video, and we can interact and talk together. Remember, this is not just me talking. This is us. This is us talking together as family, right? So over to you, Adura. Please kindly play for me the video.
Today I want to talk to you about your priorities. You see, activity doesn't necessarily mean accomplishment in your life or my life. So let's talk about 3 really important insights about priorities that are going to help you really do better in life and be more successful. Number 1, working smarter has a higher return than working harder. And yet, so many times people put a great emphasis upon how hard they work. This is a story I want to share with you that kind of will illustrate the point. 2 woodcutters placed a bet about which of them could cut down more trees in a day. So at dawn, they went their opposite direction with their axes. And in the beginning of that day, the 2 of them seemed to be working just about the same pace. But after about an hour, the first man could hear that the second man had paused in his work. And so the first guy, he's kind of amazed that his rival would tire so quickly, but the first man figured that this was his chance to get ahead, so he doubled his efforts. About 10 minutes later, he heard the sound of the second man cutting the wood again. When he heard the second woodcutter stop again a while later, it only added to the first man's confidence. He said, "Oh my gosh, this is my chance to get ahead." So he even worked harder to increase his lead. Now this happened off and on all day until an hour before sundown, the time when the 2 men had agreed to stop and compare their progress. The first man proudly showed the second how many trees he had cut down, expecting the second man to be impressed. But the second man mildly complimented him on his work, and then he showed him what he had done. And the second man had cut down almost twice as many trees. How is that possible? The first man asked. Well, it's simple. The second man said, "Every hour I sharpen my axe. Hard work beats no work, but smart work beats hard work." I just say to you and me that while we're swinging that axe, we should sometimes be sharpening it to get the greater return. It's not how hard you work, it's how smart you work. The second thought I want to give you is that being proactive beats being reactive. I've said this before. Every day you're either preparing, which is proactive, or you're repairing, you're reactive. So proactive people prepare, reactive people repair. Proactive people, they plan ahead. Reactive people, they live in the moment. Proactive people, they pick up the phone. In other words, they initiate action and conversation. Reactive people, they're sitting around waiting for other people to call them. When's the phone going to ring? Proactive people anticipate problems, and reactive people, they respond when there are problems. Proactive people, they seize the moment, and reactive people are always waiting for the right moment, which usually never comes. Proactive people control their schedule. Reactive people let other people control their time and their calendar. Proactive people invest time in people because they're making sure that the people they're with will give them that return. Reactive people, they don't invest time, they spend time with people. There's not going to be any return there. So I encourage you to be proactive in your life, and you do that when you prioritize correctly versus being reactive. And then number 3, nobody, you, me, none of us can have it all. And the good is always the enemy of the best. So how do we look at the good and the best and prioritize this and choose always the best? When I was in college working on a business degree, I first came into contact with the teaching of Pareto and the Pareto principle. That graphic has been shown to you right now, and as you watch that graphic and as you see it, it's very obvious that if you prioritize correctly, if you've got 10 things to do and you put the first 2 important things to do clear at the top, number 1 and number 2, they are the most important. If you prioritize correctly and you only do the top 2, that 20% at the top, that 20%, look what it does on that graphic. It gives you an 80% return on your production. That's powerful. The 20% of your priorities is going to give you the 80% of your production. So if you spend your time, your energy, your money, and you put your personnel in that top 20% of your priorities, you're going to get a huge return out of it. Now that graphic and that principle absolutely changed my life. As I sat in that class working on my business degree that day as a young person, I said, if I can understand Pareto and how it works and prioritize correctly and always do the most important things in my life, that's when I'll get the highest return. In fact, if you look at that graphic and let's say you didn't do those top 2 things that give you the 80% return, but you did the other 8 things that weren't as important as the top 2, you only get a 20% return. And again, that was the day I realized it's not how hard you work, it's how smart you work. That activity is not always accomplishment. So let me give you some examples. For example, time. 20% of our time produces about 80% of our results. I find that if you're a morning person, you should do your most important things in the morning because you get your highest return. If you're an evening person, you should do the most important things in the evening. Whenever you're your best, your strongest, you're most aware and awake, whatever that time is, that's when you need to do the important things of life. Counseling, I've found that 20% of the people that you know will take up 80% of your time in wanting to talk to you about their issues and their problems. If you produce products, 20% of the products that you produce will give you about 80% of your profits. If you read a book, 20% of the book contains about 80% of the content. Now time out for a moment. That's not true of my books. That's true of all those other books, but not mine. Jobs, 20% of our work gives us 80% of our satisfaction. That's true. Speeches, 20% of the presentation in our speech or our talk creates probably 80% of the impact. I found that donors in my nonprofit organizations, 20% of those donors will give me 80% of the money. In the area of taxes, 20% of the people are going to pay 80% of the taxes. And in leadership, 20% of the people are going to make 80% of the decisions. And then this is the real important one. If you're having a picnic, 20% of the people will eat 80% of the food. That's a fact. Now, what Pareto teaches us again is so powerful that the key to accomplishing much isn't working hard, it's prioritizing correctly. And you can take charge of your life and accomplish the things that you desire to do when you begin to change your priorities in life. So, before you do your roundtable today, one more time, just kind of do a check on yourself. How well am I prioritizing? And as you share with your friends around the table now, be honest. Let them know not only what you do well, but what you don't do well. We learn so much from the failures of others. So be open, listen well, share, and then remember, at the end of the roundtable, find one thing that you can immediately take action on, because that's where your life will be changed.
Wow, amazing, amazing. So what are you gonna do now is that I want all of us to write or to unmute, tell me what is it that they got from what our father, Dr. John Maxwell, said in the video. What is it that you learned from there? Tell me anything you learned, anything that stood out for you in what he was saying. Anyone, someone? Feel free to unmute to just tell me what is it that you learned from the video. You can write in the chat box. Hello, Oluwatosin.
For me, I think is the 80-20% rule. Yeah.
Nice. 20. Okay, nice. All right, they are coming in. Feel free to unmute and say something if you want to. It's okay. Oh, nice. Okay, I see 20% of your activities.
Everyone.
Oh, good evening, my dear.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yes, I just joined in to the end of the video. And one thing that stood out for me was the you can achieve a lot if you prioritize appropriately or rightly. You can. It's not by working hard, but by having the right priority. Thank you.
Definitely. Nice one. I see here. I was reading this one of 20% of your activities brings about 80% of your revenue. Definitely. Being proactive beats being reactive. Nice, Alice. Miss Sylvia says, working smart always beats working hard. I totally agree with that. Inoyulua, forgive me if I didn't say that correctly. It's activities do not mean achievement. Oh, wow, nice. Harley says being proactive and not reactive. Amazing. Let's keep writing in the chat box. If you want to unmute, you are welcome to do so. So let's just working smart gives higher returns. Definitely, we're gonna touch on that. Definitely. So here's what we're going to talk about is that when you approach your day, right? How do you determine what to do first? When you just wake up and you in your day, what do you determine? How do you determine what to do first? Do you have a strategy, or you just wake up and just be you and be like, okay, whatever the world takes me, whatever that my day brings, I'm just gonna accept it and just move along, and you know how it is. But here, Dr. John Maxwell is telling us how to prioritize and how to have a strategy in approaching our day. So only a focus on priorities will enable you to decide what is really important, right? Everyone who wants to accomplish something of value has a full calendar. You do not wake up just like, okay, whatever that the day brings me, I'm going to do it. But everyone who wants to accomplish something of value, not of anything, of value, has a full calendar. And the question is not, will my calendar be full? Because of you'll be like, they taught us that we should have a calendar, we should have everything planned out in a calendar. Yes, your calendar is full. Yet the question is, will my calendar be full? But rather, what will fill my calendar? Two different things. Your calendar may be full, but what is it that is filling your calendar? You understand? Priorities. If you don't have a plan in place for achieving what's most important to you, you will spend all of your time reacting of what is important to someone else. So what is the secret of living according to priorities? Before we get into that, I just want to touch on if you do not have a plan of achieving what's most important to you, you spend all your life reacting of what is important to someone else. So I am not discouraging of people that are working or stuff like that, but we often see that, or we often hear when they say that we woke up and I'm sure you heard on the video, Dr. John Maxwell mentioned the plan, the quote of saying, if you do not plan your day, someone will plan it for you. In the sense that if nothing is filling your calendar, someone is going to fill the calendar for you. And who is that someone that's going to fill the calendar for you? The smart workers, not the hard workers. So you find yourself fulfilling someone's dream. You find yourself fulfilling someone's own calendar at the expense of your own. So this only means that if you don't have a plan of achieving what's most important to you, you will spend all of your time reacting to what is important to someone else, and living, fulfilling someone else's dream. So what is the secret of living according to priorities, right? Number one is do not confuse activity with accomplishment. It's two different things, right? Being busy isn't the same as being productive. It's two different things. And if you spend every minute of your work day doing things that don't matter, that will not help you. So let me just touch on this one. Like, we have people that will be like, I'm busy, and you are doing a lot of things. And as people that you are doing many things, we love to use the quote, I'm multitasking, I am doing this, I have a lot of things to do. But being busy does not mean you're being productive. You should sit down and question yourself, like, as much as I am busy like this, is my busyness bringing results? It's two different things. Is my business bringing results, or I'm just doing a lot of things and that is bringing a whole lot of nothing? Is two different things. So you should look into that. That is my business bringing results. So do not confuse activity with accomplishment. It also goes back to the point of your calendar being full, but yet nothing is filling that calendar. It's just many activities that are not bringing no accomplishment. So by deciding your priorities ahead of time, you are able to plan your activities wisely. When you identify the most important areas you should focus on, you can direct your energy towards that, the things that you have identified. That may require you to say no to some things, right? And sometimes you need to say no to good things as well, so that you can say yes to greater things. So when it comes to this one is also, it shows that you are a leader. But there are some things that you can see, these are good, but I'm gonna say no because of they are not my priority right now. I'll make an example with myself. There was a time we got another. By the way, I am a founder of an organization that empowers youth with skills, free skills of different computers, many skills that we offer our youth, and we give them a startup kit, or if it's a stipend for them just to go and start something with their lives. So there was a time where we were sponsored by USAID, and when USAID closed, we had no hope, like, because USAID was giving us everything that we were giving to the youth. So when Trump became the president, he closed USA to Africa. So that was our only hope. Then when he closed it, and I was asking myself, what am I going to do with these kids? What am I going to do now? Because they are looking up to me to give them this and that and empower them with skills and stuff like that. But then a colleague of mine offered me this other deal to be like, okay, you can sign with these ones. It was something that it was really good. The offer was good, but then there were not things that we're focusing on in our organization. Yet we needed the funding, but I had to look that, is this my priority? Is this what I want to go with? Is this what I want to run with? Because already I have priorities that I run with. So now, as much as tempting as it was, I had to say no. Why? Because of this one is not coming in a full package that I need. It's not coming in a package that I know, as yes, it is good, but it's not really satisfying to the point that I know that it will leave me fulfilled. So I had to say, no, thank you so much for the offer, but this one, let it pass me. So going forward, we're now identified by a greater one from Sweden, and they started continuing sponsoring us where USAID left us. So I can clearly say that this one was saying no to good things, and also while preparing ourselves for greater things. So some other things as a leader, there are things that we need to say no to when you know that this one is not my priority, or this one is not going according to the things that I need to fulfill and to live my purpose. Some other things you have to learn to say no, so that you can say yes to greater things. So put first things first, right? Put first things first. So author Robert J. McCain writes, and he says that the reason most major goals are not achieved is that we spend our time doing second things first. So most of us, I believe, we have once did this, whereby when we have a lot of things we want to do, and you see the one that is like challenging, and you be like, you know what, this one is giving me headache. Let me just pass it. Let me just do the things that I can do for now. But you'll be like, at least I've done something. Let me just do this one because this one is giving me headache. I have done it, and I believe some of us have done it as well. And if you have done it, confess in the comment section. So we in the chat box. So whereby you just be like, this one is giving me headache. Let me just focus on this one. So you end up doing the second things first, whereby you should have approached the one that was giving you headache already, and be like, let me do this because of challenges make us grow, right? So there's some things that we need to know that this is one of the major reasons why some goals are not fulfilled, some goals are not achieved. People die with big dreams. People just give up on big dreams because we spend a lot of our time doing second things first, while we should do first things first. So I want to open the platform for everyone, but let me just speak few words before I do that. So when you know your priorities, right, it allows you to put things first things first, right? And one tool you can use is the Pareto principle. This principle, which are also known as the 80-20, someone mentioned it in the chat box, rule. It says that you should spend 80%, right? Not this one. This principle is like you spend 80% of your time, right, and attention on the top 20% of your task. Did you get that one? Whereby, in other words, what I'm saying is, if you have 10 items to do, right, you should put them in priority order and spend nearly all of your time on the top 2 of the items. This leads to the highest level of productivity. I don't know if you heard that. Should I repeat that for you people? So this principle is also known as the 80-20. It's the 80-20 rule. It states that you should spend 80% of your time and attention on the top 20% of your task. In other words, I'm saying that if you have 10 items to do, right, if you have 10 items to do, you should put them in priority order and spend nearly all of your time in the top 2. This leads to the high level of productivity. So I need you to identify your priorities based on requirement, right? Return and reward. So these are known as the 3 R's, right? Requirement, return, and reward. So in your work, you should try to focus on you should try to focus your time and effort in 3 main areas. Number 1, tasks that are required of you by your employer, right? And that no one else can do. Focus on that. Tasks that are required of you by your employer that no one else can do. And you must also do this to fulfill your job responsibility, right? Number 2, tasks that yield a high return for your efforts because they use your greatest strength and talents. I'm going to come back to that. Number 2, I repeat it, tasks that yield a high return for your efforts because, excuse me, they use your greatest strengths and talents. This is your sweet spot. And number 3, tasks that are highly rewarding to you on a personal level. Your ultimate goal, you should be able to work most of the time is only 3 areas. I'll repeat that, sorry. Your ultimate goal should be to work most of the time in only these 3 areas. The 3 areas that I've mentioned, this should be your ultimate goal. Just work on these 3. prioritize these three. Number one is the task that are required by your employer that no one else can do. Number two is a task that yield a high level of return, a high return to your efforts because they use your greatest strengths and talents. Number three is the task that are highly rewarding to you on a personal level. So your goal now, your ultimate goal is to work on these three. Spend all your time on these three. As John says, he says, if the requirement of my job are the same as the strength that give me the highest return, doing those things brings me great pleasure and I will be successful. So, my people, I believe, this is my belief. I believe that when it comes to success, excuse me, when it comes to success, we tend to make it like a complex issue. This is one of the things that we can use and be successful. You know, we can use the thing that Dr. John Maxwell just told us now. I believe that I recently wrote it on my Facebook post when I said that I don't believe in hard work, right? And I believe in smart work. This is my belief. I don't believe in hard work. I believe in smart work. And I believe hard work is there and it has its own people. And I believe smart work is there and I want to fall under the smart workers because of when it comes to success, I believe that the hard workers work for the smart workers. So success is something that you just have to discipline yourself in learning these particular things that you are being taught here. And success is yours, but success starts from the mentality. If we go back on the attitude topic that I believe you had it all starts here. And when it's here, no one can stop it to happen in reality, right? So spend your time in mastering these three things that I told you. And believe me, you are one step away from achieving your goals. So, before I continue, what did you get from what I was saying or I was preaching? Which one did you get? Feel free to unmute before we continue. Let's interact. Let's talk. Feel free to talk anything concerning the things that you have talked about or from the video. Yes, we are together this night. Let's interact. Let's talk. It's a round table after all. We'll be talking. So feel free to talk. Yeah, anything from the chat box or you can unmute.
While someone else gets ready to talk, for me, it's the principle of doing things that really matters. You know, instead of just getting, you know, bothered or getting so much involved with activities. Why I have, you know, activities, daily activities and all of that, I still make my time to do some significant thing rather than my organization's success, you know, as an employee, and also the things I'm building. So yes, that is it for me. Just trying to merge things and also balance things. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you. Anyone else? The 3 R's required return. Indeed. I see you, the Alice. Anyone else? Oh, I see Cynthia say yes, say no to good things so that you can say yes to great things. Indeed. Do we have anyone else before we continue? We want to wrap it up.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Do what matters,
Hello?
Adura. Good evening.
Yeah, so I just want to, something that stood out for me were the three important tasks you told us. You spoke about focusing on things that matter to us, the required return on reward. It kind of opened my eyes to another perspective in my daily activities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Olu. Thank you. Indeed, that's true. Anyone else? Okay. So while you are thinking of what to write, please feel free, Feel free to talk, feel free to say whatever that is in your heart you want to say. This is a safe space. And so while you are thinking what to
Good
write,
evening. Good
good
evening.
evening.
Thanks so much for the presentation. I'm enjoying it.
Nice.
I just want to ask. Sorry, no, and here is dark, so I can't really show my video. So I just want to ask. I enjoyed the first part that has to do with requirements. Your employer. You have to do the bidding of your employer. So, but my question is, what's um doing your employer's work, tax, and all of that takes almost all your time. There are some people that even over the weekend they bring some work at home and they still continue working. That you don't even have your own time to really focus on your own, maybe your personal vision, your purpose, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you advise in that aspect? What can that person do? Thank you.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Before I answer that, there is Esther who's saying focusing on the 20% of my work that yields actual results instead of being all over the place and end up getting nothing done. Indeed. Nice one. Nice one. Coming back to your question, my brother. So okay, when it comes to focusing more on what the employer requires of you, and you're saying that you end up, you end up bringing lots more of the work to your home, and you don't have no time for yourself, and also for your own personal growth. Okay, so first and foremost, we have to understand that no matter what you do, no matter what is required of you, you have to understand that yourself, you matter first, because without you, you won't be able to do it, right? So you have to take care of yourself before you start taking care of other people, right? And what is being only if we check here, they say identify the priorities based on requirement, return, and reward, right? So obviously requirement is where it's your workspace, right? So I believe that when it comes to requirement of what is required from our employer, is that I'm looking at, let me make an example so that you can get it. When you are at work, right? When we are working and there are some things we need them to be done, and there are a lot of people that can do it, or we are working, all of us. But the moment the boss, the employer sits down and decides that, you know what, I think we should call Eugene for this, she can get it done. What I'm trying to say is that there are some certain things that when you perfect them, even your own employer, you'll be the answer to their questions, right? So when it comes to these things, that's what I think Papa Jonia is saying, is that perfect your skills, perfect everything that brings you returns from the things that she required from you. So even if you are perfecting it, do not forget yourself in the journey of perfecting everything, because we tend to forget ourselves to go and please someone else and run their dream, as we mentioned before, and we are also neglecting ourselves in the way. So as much as you can go and perfecting and doing everything, you also have to know that you matter, and nothing can be done if you do not take care of yourself. I hope you got it answered. Okay. While you are writing in the chat box, let me just give you guys a few benefits of when you clearly identify your priorities, the experience you will be having. You experience the following. So number one is the benefits is for when you've identified your priorities is you experience high satisfaction. When you accomplish a task, you experience this high satisfaction. And number two is you get to spend the best of your energy on the most important task, right? And number three is you know which things should come first and can act on them. Number four is you don't waste time on things that are non-essential. Number four is you can focus on what matters the most. Number five is you develop the power to say no, what doesn't align with your priorities. Number six, please quote it, because of as Christians, as leaders, we tend to feel shy to say no. We tend to be scared to say no, to be like, if I say this, how will they feel? But a good leader knows when to say no and knows when to say yes, and knows what to put their energy in, and knows to say, this one I'm not going to invest my energy in it because it's not my priority. It's also okay to say that. Because leaders, we tend to be like, don't feel bad, I'm gonna say that, but it's also okay to say no. That makes you a leader that knows their priority and things that they invest their energy in. So I have a few steps for you to follow here, for you to excuse me, to know your priorities and just perfect yourself in these areas of priorities. So I have a few steps for you people, and number one is journal your time. Journal your time. I myself, I'm just one person who I was a person who be like, because I needed things to be done, and that's what I thought to myself, like, if I need something to be done, I just said to be there, doing this and that and that. And by the end of the day, you did nothing, but you just did a whole lot of nothing. Yes, you did a whole lot, but a lot of nothing. So it took me a lot of time to understand these teachings of Dr. John Maxwell really helped me and shaped me to become a woman that I am today. To know my priorities. And so number one is, you as a leader, journal your time. Like for 1 week, keep a journal that documents how you spend your time. They may sound like old people thing, but it will help you. It will help you indeed. For 1 week, keep a journal that documents how you spend your time, hour by hour, right? And write down everything you do. Write it down, no matter how small or coincidental it seems. Write it down. At the end of the week, identify tasks that are time wasters. Did you get that? When you write down, you journal everything, and you write down everything that you do, no matter how small. And at the end of the week, you are able to identify the time wasters. When you're now seated down, you're able to be like, okay, I think this was a time waster. This was a time waster. That will help you to cut down on certain things that you see that they are not necessary. Right? And tasks that don't align with your priorities, you are able to cut them down. And in areas where you were a target, also identify priorities that did not get the time they should have gotten from you. And if you become aware of how you spend your time, you can begin focusing on more of it on things that are priority. Adjust how you spend your time the next week. Meaning, if you have identified the things that are time wasters, or things that you put your energy in, that you saw that this one didn't deserve much of my energy, and things that you saw that, okay, this deserved much of my energy and I didn't give in more as much as I should have given in, that's when at the end of the week you're able to do better and start the next week by checking the things that you could have done according to the things that you've journaled last week. So you're able to plan the following week better from the mistakes of the last week. I don't know if you got that. So number two is shift to strengths, right? Make a list of 3 or 4 things. Make a list of 3 or 4 things you do well. What percentage of your time do you spend in doing those things? by making this list, you are able to see what percentage of time do I make doing these things. So I was having a session with young people. As I said, I work with young people a lot. I was having a session with them, and we were here on shift to strength. Excuse me, on shift to strength. And when we're just having a talk, because roundtables we talk a lot, and we're talking of what percentage of your time do you spend doing those things. And this other lady, other girl, she said, Mrs. Eugene, 70% of my time I'm on TikTok. The other percent of my time I'm eating, so those are the things that we see on how people prioritize the things in their lives and stuff like that. So when you're able to identify what percentage of your resources is dedicated to the areas of your strength as well, and devise a plan to make changes, allowing you to dedicate 80% of your time to your strengths. If you can't, it may be time to reassess your job or career. Then we go back to the question that my brother mentioned earlier on, the question he mentioned earlier on. This will also help you, my brother, if you got it right. It says, diverse a plan to make changes, allowing you to dedicate 80% of your time to your strengths. If you can't, it may be time to reassess your job or career. Right? So this is also going to help my brother with his question. If you see that the things you are not able to invest 80% of the time into your strengths, meaning that job or that career is not for you. You are definitely running someone else's career. Goal or dream. Point number 3, make today your masterpiece, right? As you approach your day, plan it according to your priorities. We mentioned this at the starting of the session. As you approach your day, plan it according to your priorities. Look at your calendar. Make use of the calendar. The calendar is not just only for the days and dates as we normally used it back then, but make use of the calendar. Make it know the reason why the calendar is there in your phone or in your house. And look at your calendar and your to-do list before the day begins to determine how you spend your time, and then do what you can make the day the best you possibly can after you planned your whole thing on your calendar. So we're gonna talk a little bit before we close it all. We just want to talk and what is it that we have learned from today's session on the priorities topic, right? What did you learn? What did you learn? Myself, I learned that people should be smart workers. As I said, I like to be on the category of smart workers. People should be smart workers, more than hard workers. Let those that are here that want to go on the hard workers, it's okay. You can go under there. Me, I will just run to the smart workers. I love working smart more than hard. And I believe that the hard workers will eventually work for the smart workers. So that's what I learned. And so what is it that you learned? And just from everything that you have learned today, rate yourself. How do you demonstrate this quality in your life on the scale of 1 to 10? On a scale of 1 to 10, rate how you demonstrate this quality in your life. Hmm, 7. Do I say 7? I'm keen to know why 7. Why 7? already keen to know why 7, Adura. On the priorities,
Well,
Adura, you prioritize your priorities.
you said?
I said, why do you rate yourself 7? Why 7?
Yeah, I mean, I know I can still do much better in terms of how I prioritize my days and the activities I get myself into. So that is why I say 7. But of course, I'm not doing so much bad because I still do try to get to do important things and most important things, and I try to what is it called? Give people tasks, as much as I can, just to free up my decks and be able to do the most important things. And yeah.
Nice, nice. The issue that I've seen about leaders, or all of us in general, because I believe everyone is a leader, is that people are looking for perfection. When it comes to this kind of spaces, when it comes to leading, when it comes to delivering, people are looking for perfection. And my people, you are doing the wrong thing, because if you're perfect, then how are you going to grow? You literally learn from the mistakes. You want to be this perfect. You'll be like, okay, I want to do it in a perfect way and stuff. Yes, perfection is good, but when it comes to leading, no one is perfect. We tend to learn from our mistakes. We tend to be like, okay, even for example, Adura is a leader. He rated himself 7. He didn't go for 10 because he knew that there are some areas he needs to be fixed. For myself, I would probably take the 7 as well, because I have this thing of just being late, and no matter how much something is important to me, I will just find myself late. I'll wake up early, but I don't know what keeps me in the blankets or whatever that will just make me to be late. And those are some things that I need to work on, to be like, okay, some things, when they are priorities, you just have to know when to start moving, not just to be, being late in things that are not. So I just need to know that I need to focus more on working on myself when it comes to that. And so I'll rate myself 7, because I still need to work on the punctuality. Yes. Someone else? Feel free to even unmute. Wanna show your face? It is okay. Somebody, anybody? Are we there?
I think you should ask your question again. Probably some people do not fully understand.
Oh, okay. I should ask the question again. Nice. Okay, so what I was saying is that on the priorities, how do you this quality, how do you scale it in your life from the scale of 1 to 10? How well do you prioritize things in your life from everything that you have talked about of priorities? How do you prioritize things in your life from the scale of 1 to 10? Let's make it like that. Did we understand? Okay, great. Okay, I think I'll leave the platform for questions. I learned, okay, Prosper says, I learned to spend 80% of your time doing the top 20 most important things. Nice one, my brother. Nice one. Okay, so if you have any questions, comment, anything you'd like to understand on please feel free to unmute. I'll give myself 6 out of 6. I find myself bringing work home when I'm supposed to be spending quality time with my family. True. We all do that. So we all do that. I think we need help on that. That's true. For myself, I am guilty of that. I was away for like 2 weeks. I'm back home like this night. And when I just arrived, I see family, they just seated, my child, and everybody just needing to talk to me. And I'm already planning to join this session already. So sometimes we are guilty of that. We bring work home, and instead of us to spend time with our families, looking at the work that we do, we are mostly away from families. So yes, I'll also work on that myself. Anyone? Any question, comment, anything? Feel free to think anything that you have learned from the session of priorities. You are welcome to unmute.
So yes, I have this question for you on behalf of anyone who is some sort of trying to balance. I know you've talked about work and yourself, but anyone who is practically finding it hard to balance their life, in terms of work, family, education, and just multi parts of life, how to balance it up practically. Yeah.
Okay. When it comes to work and what again you mentioned?
Family, and other things. Yeah, how to more like practically balance them up.
Okay. So we can go back to when Dr. John Maxwell said, excuse me, he says the moment the moment you see that you are not able to balance it out, you're not able to invest your strengths in 80% of your time, he said that it's time to reassess your job or your career. The moment you see that everything that you're doing, you're not able to balance it and invest in something that is your strength like that, it's time to reassess your job or your career. So when we look at that, maybe you'll be like, okay, so jobs are hard, or maybe whatever that you're doing, maybe it's your source of income at that particular time and you're not able to balance it out. The other option is know the priorities. For example, Cynthia mentioned that sometimes she does not balance when it comes to family, work, and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, she knows that her family is a priority. So you have to identify your priority first. And when you are doing like the issues that we want to do all of it together, and if you want to do all of it together, you won't be able to do it because you are doing a whole lot of everything and results are nothing. So the moment you know your priorities, all of them, you are able to be like, okay, if my priorities is 1, 2, 3, I'm going to start with this one. And if I manage to do this one, the rest is nothing. You get? So the moment we know how to put our priorities on top and to be like, okay, I have a whole lot of things to do and I'm multitasking, I'm touching there and there and then there, I'm not able to balance with my family and stuff like that. Look at what is most important on all that list and start with that. Don't do everything at once. Just start with that. Then from there, you're able to follow with the others. And when we are doing that as well, you should also remember that if you see that you can't manage all of it, meaning it's not for you, Dr. John Maxwell didn't say that, you need to reassess your job or your career. The moment you see that you're not able to invest, to dedicate 80% of your time to your strengths. So if you can't do that, it's time to reassess your career or your job. I hope you're answered. I see. Okay. There are many. Okay, I have prospered. Journal your time to keep track of your life, to know what you are wasting time on. Definitely. I like what you said about the fact that nobody's perfect. We learn and adjust as we go. Amen. Prosper, I have the issue of wasting too much time after succeeding the first most demanding task for the day. This normally happens when the task feels almost impossible to me, and I tend to waste the rest of the day. What do I do to scrap this issue? Okay. Okay, cool. In addition to his question, can there be a balance or it's more of priority per choice in time? Okay, okay, nice. I'll rate myself 6% on priority, but after today's lesson, I know I'll do better by prioritizing my most important task and getting them done instead of trying to get everything at the same time. Thank you, ma'am. You are welcome, Esther. I have the issue of wasting too much time after succeeding the most. Okay, I think I read this. This normally happens when the task feels almost impossible to me, and I tend to waste the rest of the day. What do I do to scrap this issue? At what point do we draw the line between prioritizing our time, focusing on our strengths, and the things that gives us the higher return, and avoiding being self-centered, selfish? I like that. Okay, at what point? Okay, and being selfish. Okay. Okay, I love this topic of priorities. So I'm just going to give you a quick example, right? So when it comes to myself, as I mentioned, I'll make an example with myself, but that's the only example I can make for now. I am someone who's never home a lot of times because of the work here, all over the place, a lot of traveling, and in a I'll be in a space whereby my family will see me once in a blue moon, right? And when you are home, and when I'm home, I'm already doing like this. They already went to bed. I'm already doing this. And in the morning, we don't see each other. I'm already out. So sometimes you end up seeing that now I'm not just, yes, I am working. I'm investing in me. I'm investing in my future. But am I not being selfish now? Am I not draw? I'm not. Am I? Why should? Am I not? I see myself as this, I'm no longer drawing the line in between, like, okay, work, family, prioritizing this. But and that's being selfish, because you end up running, you end up hiding in the term of, I am providing, I have to provide, I have to do this, and that's being selfish. You understand? So as much as I want to provide, as much as I want to do this, doesn't mean I don't have to prioritize my family. I don't have to prioritize my people, because I have parents, I have siblings, I have a daughter. So those, I have to know that, okay, I have to draw a line that work, family, investing in me, in my strengths, and family. So sometimes we tend to be selfish and just looking out for ourselves, me, and it does not work like that. When you're a leader, you have to draw the line in between. And when it comes to, let's just know how to draw the line in between. And as much as we are focusing on the strength and give us a higher return, and avoiding being self. Okay, talk about the Okay, so Dr. John Maxwell, when it comes to your question, Prosper, Dr. John Maxwell mentioned that when you do this task and the one that are priorities, believe me, you will feel this excitement within you, that you feel like you've done something good and big, which is good and big, and there's this satisfaction that you feel within you that you've accomplished this task. And so I believe that excitement, most of the times, it leads you into wanting to do more. The moment you feel like you've done something that was very hard and impossible, and you know that you've done it by yourself, your hard work, your strength, you invested all your time in that, there's this satisfaction that you feel inside of you that will lead you into wanting to do more. So for you to start feeling like you're feeling down and less of yourself after you've achieved that, I think because of it was not number one on the priority. Because if it was really number one on the priority, there's supposed to be satisfaction within you that I've just accomplished one of the impossible tasks that I had, and I did it by myself. So I think revisiting your priority list by putting the most on the top and telling yourself that I'm gonna do this, and by the time that you are done in accomplishing that, I believe there should be satisfaction within you. Because I believe we all feel satisfied when we do something that was really hard, like really hard. Like you ask yourself, oh, did I really do that? Oh, did I really, you know? So it feels amazing that you have accomplished something, and it's supposed to be bringing you so much joy, so much joy. So just in finishing, I just wanted to say that as much as we are leaders, as much as we are, I believe most of us here are Christians. I believe that I just want to leave with the word of saying that no matter what you do, because of we Christians and leaders, we tend to don't know how to say no. And this one will not work as much as you want to have priorities, and as much as you want to grow in your leadership, in your leadership skills and everything that you do. You should know how to excuse me, should know how to say no. The power of no. I know that majority of us here, we're once in a space where you know how to say no. You'll be like, I think they'll feel bad, or just you putting yourself in their shoes, be like, let me just do it so that they can feel better about themselves, or so that they can just just be okay. But yet it's now you are literally doing things for the benefit of those, but not you. So you should be able to say no as a leader. And no matter how good it seems, there are some things you'll be like, not for me. No, not for me. I'm not focusing. Currently, I'm not focusing on that. Currently, I am not doing that. But thank you though for offering. So as leaders, know your priorities and know when to say no. So with that being said, that's all from me. Thank you so much for joining. I'll give it back to the facilitator unless there's something else that is needed of me to say. Thank you.
Wow. Someone you want to just, give a very, loud virtual clap, make it, keep sounding. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you. We so much appreciate, your perspectives and all of what you say. And I know quite a number of people, raise this question, and I would practically, try to also say something about that. So for me, I do, many things. You can call me, in fact, in my profile, the first thing we see is multi-potentialite. Because I do quite a lot of things, and I'm good at, doing all of these things, and one of the things I do is I, organize events for people, talk about great events, within Lagos, Nigeria. I'm always, kind of behind them. And while I have a list of schedule of so event this month, so event this month, so event, now I am prioritizing organizing my own events. So while I'm busy doing all of this, I'm getting things done for other people and doing all of this, I pay attention to my own self. And I will say this, I'm saying this with a sense of, responsibility, and, without bringing any sense of responsibility or lackadaisically, mind down. I will say this, I cherish myself much more than any other things I'm doing. Yes, some of you, that is what you want to do. I know someone will be thinking, oh, so how do I do work? How is work? And at work, I have many responsibilities, many things to do, many people to attend to, and all of that. But there are some times that I try to align my vision with the organization vision. So I check our schedule, our yearly schedule, our monthly schedule, and all of that. I see, oh, I know that this time we have a lot of things, but these few 3 days I can kind of like be available for this. So I plan it. I planned it since 2 months ago. I know that this social time, anything can come as what is it called, as an obstruction, or a schedule can come up. But I also carry along, I carry, my team along, my leaders, my land managers and all of that. I carry them along to know, oh, I'm having so thing, so time. So I mean, everything. You remember the first session today talks about relationship, and that is why you need to get that right. It's a key. You negotiate your way through life. You negotiate yourself through life in any situation, whether you have the upper hand or a lower hand. Negotiation is a great key that you need to have. So when it comes to work, the things you need to do, you just try to negotiate and have conversation with the people that with you and around you. So yeah, I mean that is what I have to impute to what we've learned today so far. And of course, the next less than 5 minutes we'll be leaving here, but just have some announcements to share. Of course, as you know, this is the IQ leadership retreat. It's a 3-day, retreat, and it's been a pleasure, studying the values, that Dr. John Maxwell have taught many other people all through, his life. More like, he's been doing this for 20 years plus, across the world. His organizations, is across the world, and it's just nice for us here to, learn it. I came across it, that was about 5 years ago or so, and it indeed changed my life. And I did all I could to be part of the team, that will be bringing this to others. And that's why I'm here. If you think you can be one of those people who will organize things like this to take it to your network or partner with the organization, please, you can reach out to me, and we would know how to get that done. Tomorrow you will hear more about that from our last speaker. But I mean, also, you want to join the community. I know I've said that quite a number of times. The admin team is supposed to share a screen to show you the logo for the Intellect Quest company. So wherever you see that logo, you should know that this is the Intellect Quest company. Yeah, so if you see the logo on your screen now, it's quite symbolic to maybe some things you may know. But I mean, this is the Intellect Quest community logo. And second to it is also the Intellect Quest company. They look very similar. So you might not really see the difference, but the difference is the curve. The community has a curve because it's a circle. It's a community, and the company is a square. Yeah, that is the dot. Admin, can you please change? And of course, everyone who is attending this this event, you have a copy of my book. Yes, you can a link. The admin will drop the link to my first ever book I published. That was some months ago. It's titled "No Excuse: Your Life, Your Responsibility." I mean, I had to take my time to create that masterpiece. So yes, you want to get that. And of course, join the community. You'll be seeing a lot of things. Program we'll be putting together, at the Intellect Quest company. One of them, is the Race Summit we had December 28th and January 1st. Yeah, that was the first edition. And then in April, we had the high school educational seminar. Each time, sometimes when I pass my street, my estate, I'll just see, kids, waving at me, secondary school, student. And most time I'll have to always ask people, oh, where do you know me? Because I mean, I don't really know them. They tell me, oh, your event. Even sometimes when I'm walking outside my local government or my place, students, just wave at me. And I'm so glad having that. And of course, this is the IQ retreat. Also, there will be a podcast, more like a conversation coming up. It's called the Global Influence Conversation. And we'll be having speakers from around the world, conversing, engaging them in different subject matter. The username or the hashtag for that will be Glowfluence. The brand identity, is forming, and yes, you'll be getting the update soon. But of course, you need to be in that community, the Intellect Quest company, also known as the Intellect Quest community, also known as the IQ community. And of course, some of my books will be coming out. I already have about 10 books I'm writing. Just some things to be done to get them out fully out, but of course, yes, these are some of them. This is no excuse. You can already download that. The admin should drop the link in the chat, and yes, there's something that will be coming up, industry, now to get into any industry. And of course, it isn't interesting. I've been putting that together for some time now, and even me, I'm learning something. And of course, beyond conspiracy, there are many others, but their branding are not yet out. So you want to follow me on all social media platform at Aduramigba Inch, Aduramigba Incorporated, and you would get to see all of the work I am personally doing and all of the work I am joining people to do. Yes, that is it. Thank you so much, our speakers. The thank you cannot be enough, of course. And of course, to everyone who joined tonight. It's really great having you yesterday and today. We go again tomorrow. Tomorrow is the final day, and you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. So yes, I think with that, we would give it tonight a closing. And of course, one thing you should go, you should leave tonight with is you can have bunch of keys, but remember, it's only one key you need to open whatever door you want. So have right relationship, and set your priorities right, and everything is going to sail well. All right, thank you everyone. Bye, have a good time, and see you tomorrow.